Time for some football. Let's get it over to the guys calling the Kansas State-Houston game. Jason Benetti and Brock Hewitt. We will see you back here at the half. Fellas, take it away.
Mike, thank you very much. It took an extra hour, and we barely have hours to spare. The calendar has turned to November, and so we're looking at conference championship races. The new 12-team college football playoff conference titles are even more gold than they used to be, with basically a guarantee to get into the college football playoff for the top 5 conference champions. And Kansas State has an opportunity here. Iowa State in progress right now at last check, trailing Texas Tech. BYU is off today. So Kansas State made it to the Big 12 title game a couple of years ago, upset TCU, and a chance to maybe have that kind of season right now. Their last loss was about a month ago to BYU. Jason Benetti, Brock Hewitt, Allison Williams in a moment, but K-State has been on fire since then.
Yeah, you know what? We've had the good fortune to see a lot of great running backs, from Piscataway to Boise this season, down to Orlando. Kansas State has one of those in DJ Giddens, but they've got a 1-2 punch, and not a lot of folks have that. Avery Johnson, the quarterback, is a dynamic playmaker, a true dual-threat quarterback. The first-year phenom can do it with his legs. He scored 4 rushing touchdowns. Heck, he rushed it 14 times a week ago, where he puts it in that guy's belly, and Giddens knows how to do the rest. One of the top rushing teams in the country, and for Houston today, a good front seven. They're going to have to handle not 1, but 2 punches, and even a third running back that's pretty good, too.
Look, that Kansas State team from 2 years ago, they lost early in the year to Tulane and Willie Fritz, who is now the head coach here at Houston. He knows how to beat K-State.
He's won a lot of games, more than a couple hundred games, in fact, as a college coach all over this country. And we asked him yesterday, like, situationally, or what are some keys? Like, we just play to win. You know, we got to find a way to win. And in this case, find a way to make the upset. When I look at 3 things in this, Jason, that are super key, he too has a quarterback in Zion Chris that can really run. I expect 15 to 20 runs out of him. Number 2, he's got to steal possessions. Do that on 4th down, do that in the special teams phase. He knows mano y mano, year number 1 for him. Can't do it, but stealing a possession here or there in either half could be a big deal. And then lastly, not neutral on special teams. You got to win the return game, right? You got to stuff them, maybe a turnover in that phase of it. And you got to be perfect kicking it and punting it. You do those 3 things, even with broken fingers that he's got taped up today, he's got a shot.
He does. It was a post-game situation last week, grab a player. But you know what? That's the kind of toughness you need to pull off an upset. We'll take a break with our game countdown, sponsored by Progressive, as the 17th-ranked Kansas State Wildcats are set to take on the Houston Cougars. Kickoff is coming up next. Welcome back to Fox College Football, sponsored by Geico. Get more with Geico. Kansas State in the top tier of the Big 12, trying to get to the Big 12 title game. You see what the weather is. It has not been great so far. There was some lightning in the area. They had to clear the stands. 80 degrees. It looks like we'll be able to play in a couple of minutes here in Houston, which is good news. Kansas State is a team coming into the season, thought it'd be around the top of the Big 12, 3-0. They were number 18 in the preseason. This was one of the teams that has held serve in a topsy-turvy Big 12, but BYU just thrashed them in a night game, 38-9. They've rattled off 4 straight victories since then. Comebacks, late touchdown against Colorado, late field goal against Kansas. And with that, we say hello to Allison Williams downstairs. Always in the rain, it seems like. Sorry.
It's dry-ish, so I will take it. And yeah, JB, K-State comes into this game at 7-1, and that stat, quarterback coach Matt Wells says, is the most important stat for a quarterback, the win-loss record. And he points to that one loss at BYU as a low point and a turning point for his quarterback, Avery Johnson. In that game, he said Johnson allowed one mistake to turn into another, throwing the 2 interceptions. So the 2 of them sat down the next day, and they had a long conversation about what things would look like going forward. The ownership he wanted to see from Johnson, not just privately, but when he walked out that door. And Johnson has responded. The next game, he accounted for 5 TDs, was named Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week. The following week, led them to the comeback against Colorado. Wells says he has seen tremendous growth over the last last 4 games from his quarterback. He said Avery knows the most important job is to inspire those 10 guys around him and lead this team to a win, which he has done. A lot of maturation and growth from the quarterback that turned just 20 years old today.
Yeah,
Jason.
literal maturation today. He's a year older than he was last time he played. Thank you, Allison. And for Chris Kleiman, 7-1, their best start since 2014, trying to get to 8-1, a team that 12 years ago opened unbeaten through double-figure games. They're going to get the ball first here. But these two guys know each other, and not only from these two schools, but from way back in the day.
Yeah, a lot of respect between them. They battled a couple times at North Dakota State and Sam Houston State, one of 6 stops for Willie Fritz along the way. You see 32 seasons, and a lot of times you'll hear, well, maybe not at FAU and South Florida last night, a lot of respect between head coaches, but these two really genuinely do, because they're builders, they're developers, and their teams usually play super sound football.
I love that you're on post-game handshake alert from last night. Thank you for watching that on the internet. Kansas State has traveled well here to Houston.
Yeah, a lot of purple in the stands on a blackout afternoon.
We expect this may be a low-scoring game and a running-heavy game. We'll see how the track affects that. Houston trying to pull off the upset against Kansas State this afternoon. Jack Martin kicks it away, and here we go from lovely Houston. This will sail through the end zone.